All right, today we're gonna start over here at the med school on the health sciences campus. Starting over here at the new dorms at the landing, go down through Ritter Park, through West Huntington, Westmoreland, through Cerrito, Kenova, and we'll end up at Virginia Point Park, which is right on the Kentucky-West Virginia state line. So let's go ahead and get going. Today, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk to you today. I don't like these silent videos, so if you do, you can just mute it and turn me off. Okay, up here on our left, up here, is the Marshall University Forensic Science Center. So the cool thing about that is you'll see it there. You can get a great look at it. How you doing? The thing about the Forensic Science Center is it's a pretty diverse building. It started out, the place itself was Fairfield Stadium. When Fairfield Stadium closed in 1990, it became a pretty vacant lot. So they took the locker room and they converted it into a forensic science laboratory. So for the better part of 25 years, it's been a DNA lab. In 2005, they built onto it, and then they started doing digital forensics, which is what I do. We have two laboratories there now. We have a West Virginia State Police Digital Forensics Unit lab on campus there, and we also have a research laboratory. So it's kind of cool to see what they've done with the old stadium property. And then last year, they built the dorm there for the health sciences students at the med school. So not only do you have the medical school students on that campus now, you also have a dorm that houses students there. So it's really grown up a lot. Really enjoy working over there, enjoy the facility. They're coming down one of the nicer places, coming up on Ritter Park. Up here on the right is Marshall's president's house, Dr. Gilbert. You can see with the flag there. And right here's the fountain up here on my left, Ritter Park. Ritter Park's a beautiful park. You can tell there's a lot of people out today because classes are back in session. A lot of people out running. It's a beautiful track to run around. See, the day's just great out today. We're actually going to take a left up here rather than going straight. I don't want to go across a brick street. If you stay straight on this, this will take you back up to the Museum of Art. You can see the park. We're going to take a right here on South Boulevard. Start heading down west to Huntington. This walking track up here on my left goes all the way down to Safety Town and cuts back up towards Harvey Town. So it's about, I think it's about 1.7, 1.8 miles to get down there. Really nice. You can see a lot of people walk their dogs out here. Got a real nice wide rim here to get your bike off. If you have cars or traffic that comes up behind you. Let's see there. It's always a problem. We're gonna have to cut off here, go to back around this construction, so not a big problem. Problem here is some of these streets of Huntington are mostly brick, so gotta watch, especially on these road bikes, and pop a tire real quick. Speak from experience. We're back on South Boulevard again, not a big deal. Nice thing about Huntington is most of the streets are square, so you generally know how to traverse the city pretty easily. The streets run parallel north to south, while the avenues and the boulevards, for the most part, traverse east to west. So it's a real squared up town, real easy to get around. A lot of nice houses down here. It's about 10 miles to get down to Virginia Point Park in Kenova. We should be down there in about 20 minutes. Not feeling like great, but feeling good enough to get down there pretty quickly. Getting back's gonna be the problem. Got a pretty hard tailwind. A lot of open space. We're coming up on the War Memorial up here on our right. Very nicely kept. One of the prettier things in Huntington, in my opinion. Very underappreciated, undervalued. But very well lit at night. Hey guys. Hey. Some really big trees down here. It's nice and shady. If you're looking for a good ride, you're in the Huntington area, this is perfect. I mean, this is early in the morning, but you know, nice thing about this is cars have no problem getting around you, so. Have a little bit of a headwind today, so that kind of hurts when cars are coming up on you. It's hard to hear them. I really like running this. Really like going down and back. We're about 2.5 miles in right now. So, making pretty good time. This headwind's pretty bad. Getting ready to come up on the Railroad Museum. Chesapeake and Ohio. See, they have a couple of locomotives there. And then far beyond that is Safety Town. Safety Town, it's a cool little place. They take the kids, the local schools. It's like its own little town. So most elementary age school kids in the area go to Safety Town. They have little battery and gas powered cars, teach them traffic laws. If you're a fan of the McElroy brothers, my brother and me, they're pretty niche famous in the US. They're from Huntington. They did a show for a while. It was on CISO, NBC's streaming service, and they went to Safety Town for one of their episodes. I really recommend looking it up on YouTube. It's pretty funny. All right, so we're back on 6th Avenue. You can see we just turned that avenue or street that was straight in front of us was Old Central City. So if you're into antiquing or know anyone, it's a real cool place to go. Nice area. They've really built it back up. Huntington's done a lot of good things. Here's kind of tough because I don't really have much of a shoulder to dump off on. So if I get real quiet on you guys, it's probably because the car's right up on my tail. Plus we have a exit off the interstate. A lot of cars in this area. They don't deal with cyclists well. So they don't know how to let them pass or how to, be patient and get around them. It's getting better though. I think it's pretty good. It's really nice. They slowed down, kind of kept their speed current. Stayed real good and safe. They're getting to where they need to go, and I'm getting where I need to go. So this is kind of where 6th Avenue turns into Madison Avenue. I'm not really sure what they call this. All I know is wind's working pretty hard against me today. Jefferson Avenue, Church of God up here on the right. Churches have been really hurting lately because they've been kind of taken away from in-person services. Kind of a bummer. So when I first started riding, one of the things I learned real quickly was cars can sneak up on you. I purchased one of the flashing tail lights. I'm running it right now. Lifesaver. For you all that are into road bikes or getting into it, get one. Especially in these areas where you have cars that, you know, come up on you. They really undistracts them if they're on their phone or something. At the same time, slows them down. Makes it safer for them and for me. So we're getting ready to cross into Westmoreland. Right up here, you can see the avenues up here ahead. This is kind of, wouldn't say Huntington ends here, but because they've annexed this part of the city, we're kind of getting on the outskirts of Huntington. It doesn't look like it, but a little uphill here. Going to try to average about 15 miles an hour today. We're just a little under that, about 14.7. We're moving pretty slow. That's okay. So the point of view harness that I'm wearing, just kind of get some conversation here. Picked up from Amazon for about 20 bucks. Camera, GoPro Hero 8. It's an 8 black to be exact. I put the media mod on it because it gives a little bit better microphone. Helps against these headwinds we're dealing with today. The harness mount, real easy, get on and off, tilts down so you can stop and start real quickly. The settings on the GoPro, usually I broadcast at about, I like to do a 4K recording and then upload, but it takes forever to upload 4K video, regardless of what internet connection you're on. So I'm actually broadcasting 2.7K, still 60 frames per second, but dialed down from 4K to 2.7. I don't think anyone really wants to watch a 20-minute video at 4K anyway, but you have that option. Or at least at 2.7K. Get a really good, smooth frame rate at 1080p. But very happy with the optics of this camera. Very versatile camera. I use it to teach at Marshall. GoPro added a mod back in July where you can turn through the USB cable. You don't have to use an HDMI. Turn a GoPro into a webcam. No extra software. Just load the firmware in. Okay. So Westmoreland is now turning into Spring Valley. So up here at the red light, we're approaching is Spring Valley Drive, and then Madison Avenue here is going to turn into Piedmont Road. So Spring Valley, if you stayed left, you can jump back on James River Road. If we had stayed straight back at the Railroad Museum, if you're a more experienced rider, I'd recommend, let's see if we can get through this one. Stay straight there at the Railroad Museum, take James River Road. More hills, a little more challenging. Spits out there too, if you stay left. Right across the hill there too, Spring Valley High School. They're a AAA high school, pretty big. The VA Medical Center's out there. And Marshall has some property out there too. Before they built the Health Sciences campus we started at, medical school, pharmacy school, even the forensic science department was all out there at the VA Medical Center. I took a left off of Piedmont. Piedmont ends at Camden Park, which is only about a half mile. But that road is in terrible shape, especially for a road bike. So I'm gonna stop the red light up here just to get a breather. This is Route 60 we're getting ready to turn back on. It's 4-lane. I haven't had any issues up here, but it does go back to 2-lane, and I'm gonna have to shut up and pedal here for a while. I might take this light here just to get a head start. So I usually ride the shoulder here. Shoulder's kind of rough. There's some trucks that sometimes park here. But, you know, you've got that flashing light. Cars can kind of veer over in the left lane, get around you no problem. Thing about this area, I've had a couple of flats right in here. There's a lot of glass on this shoulder here, all the way down to Kenova. Like I said, I usually just ride this shoulder, hopefully not getting a flat today. It wouldn't be fun. But if you ride anywhere in Huntington, carry you a couple of tubes. You're gonna need them. I've been thinking about upgrading a road bike to a more of a hybrid. Salsa has a Soros bike. Very appealing because it has the kind of the cowbell handles like I got on this one, but it's got the aggressive tread of a mountain bike, so slows you down a little bit. I'm sure you're gonna be able to kick, you know, 18, 19 miles an hour on the road, but at the same time, West Virginia has a lot of really nice gravel trails. I don't want a bike that just handles it all, you know. I'm not out here for speed and time. I'm out here to really see things. Guess you guys saw on the right, that's Camden Park. People aren't from around here. If you're a gamer, you probably recognize Camden Park from Fallout 76. It's getting old, it's got some age on it. You can see they got some little rides there. But it's been around for 100 years or better. Kind of gives you a peek into what Huntington was really like 100 years ago. You know, the population was double the size it is now. Right now we're at 50,000. Town in 1920, I think it was 100. So 100,000 people people passing through on rail. They were doing a lot of R&R at Camden Park, so Huntington was a bustling travel town, especially at the height of the rail era. It's really cool to see these old relics. All right, so getting ready to jump on the 2-lane or Route 60. This is 55, so I'm gonna shut up and pedal here for a while. Get some breathing room on this bridge. See, we're passing Cerrito. All right, so got a little bit of breathing room here. We're crossing into actual Cerrito, the flood wall. We're gonna veer off 60, US 60, on this little road right beyond the flood wall. Slow down. So this will back roads us all the way down to Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia line. Very pretty route with trains and everything. That's Teresa Jeffries singing. I can tell that voice from anywhere. That's I grew up in Salt Rock, which is a good distance from here. Our church is kind of back and forth with the coronavirus, but I grew up listening to her voice. Very beautiful. It's great, you know, days like this, you never know what you're gonna run up on. It's pretty cool. You know, you sit around, I know I do it, kind of get a little depressed on, you know, what direction you think the world's going. Man, it doesn't cost anything to get out here. Everything today is bought and paid for. So, you know, take that as whatever you want it to mean, but everything strapped to me today is something I no longer owe on. So, poor guy, you're still going to be out here biking and seeing people gather with hope, you know. So this cuts right down through Cerrito, which kind of merges quickly into Kenova. I don't know what point we hit Kenova, but I know we're not far from it. We went roughly about 8 miles now, so we're probably about 2 miles out of our destination at Virginia Point, which we'll hit. Lots of railroad track crossing, that's okay. I don't whiz across them, I don't like flats, so. A little rough there. It opens back up here. Some beautiful old houses there. Give you a good look at them. It's a pretty house, just a little run down, but if that were put some money into it, it'd be beautiful. House here, this is, trying to tilt my camera so you can see it, another beautiful house down here. A lot of it's this Joseph Samuels Miller house. It's a pretty house if you're ever riding down here to just see it. This is the CK Primary School, newer building they just built a couple of years ago. Very pretty building, kind of has a old look to it. Kind of like the architectural vibes off of it. You probably see some pretty big bridges up here, kind of off in the horizon. That's because the Ohio River is right up here on our right. And you'll see it here in a second, in a couple of miles. You won't get a good look at it because of the trains and coal trains and whatnot, but we'll see it when we hit Virginia Point down here. A lot of friends will ask me, why do you enjoy riding this trail so much? Why do you take one couple of hours out every week to pull these 20 miles? This was, when I got into road biking, this was the first really long excursion I did. So I really like taking it. Not for the challenge, it's just a nice clear your mind kind of ride. Plus, for the better part of about 3 miles of this, or close to it, you're taking these back roads, this bike trail that Cerrito Kenova set up. So you really don't see very many cars through here. And if you do, they've got a pretty good sight line to, you know, stop and let you through and let them through. You can see they have the bike route marked. So here, get off the tracks here a little bit. Get back to just the functional city route through here. This is one of the most western points of West Virginia. Kenova is. So when we get down here in about a mile, maybe less, down to Virginia Point, you'll be able to see 3 states at once: Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. We'll actually be on West Virginia soil. If we go left about 100 yards, you'd be in Kentucky. and we jump off our bike and swim to Ohio. We'll be in Ohio in about 10 minutes. Needless to say, I don't feel like driving to Kentucky or riding over to Kentucky, and I don't want to swim today, so we'll just view it from a distance. Coal barges on the Ohio are very fascinating to watch, especially in the mornings. They empty out or have to turn around, which you catch very, very often at this vantage point we're coming up on here in a bit. Picked up our speed a little bit. We're right at 15, which is pretty leisure pace. I'll take it any day. I have no intentions on running any race or tours. My bike's a little bit heavy. Had some friends ask me what kind of bike do I ride. It's pretty simple. It's a Trek 1000 SL. It's I call it a pretty venerable bike. It's an 07 model. And the thing about it, it's light. It's not the quietest bike, it's not the fastest bike. It does have carbon forks on it. It's a little tough to pedal and pump uphill. I have to take those tracks there. Tough to pedal and pump uphill. It doesn't get into those high and low speeds like your more high dollar bikes do. But I mean, you guys saw it earlier. We had very little uphill on this ride down. Actually, our worst uphill is coming up here in about 200 yards. So I don't really need an uphill to handle this. And that's why I'd like to get my hands on one of those salsa bikes, because you know it does have those mountain bike gears. But I mean, for what I ride, that's all I need. It's red and black, so that's why the handlebars are red and black. I even went with some older looking tires to kind of keep the feng shui of the bike. I put the old Continental gator skins on it. Big fan of these gator skins. They really hold up well. They were the same tires I had on it when I bought the bike a while back. Had it not too long. The Trek bikes is pretty functional. That was a hill I was talking about. That's the worst one. And we're kind of closing on Virginia Point Park, which is pretty much the end of our ride. I'll turn around and go back to Marshall, but I won't bore you through that. But it's roughly, we're at 9.97 miles. So by the time we hit our ending point, we'll be exactly 10 miles. Sometimes I start on Marshall's main campus. Sometimes I start up at the Health Sciences campus. It's about the same distance. The downtown Marshall campus, beautiful start, but you have to ride through downtown, and it's pretty in its own right because you're going through Huntington. The route that I took you through Ritter, so a little more scenic. But if you're riding Virginia Point, I couldn't understate this more. this little line up here across the road. There's no good way to cross over this. They've actually blacktopped them in the past week, so just be careful up here. It's probably some of the roughest territory you run up on. You can see beautiful, beautiful views up here. I'm actually going to keep the film rolling and just jump off so you can see it. A lot of fishermen dock in here. You can see here. Just gonna stop, a nice shady stop here. Virginia Point. So Ohio runs north, that runs back up towards Huntington, that bridge that we were seeing there. You can see some barges right up there beyond the bridge, some barges across the river. Directly across the river is Ohio, specifically South Point, and a little down the river there is Coal Grove and Ironton. Back up here is Big Sandy River. This is where the Big Sandy meets the Ohio River. And directly across down the river there on the left-hand side is Kentucky. So you have Marathon has quite a bit of barges that they a big fuel manufacturer and provider. So they load up a lot of coal and bring in a lot of coal. Virginia Point, nice little park, beautiful park. So I'll sit here and usually just kind of gather some thoughts, take in some water, and get back and head back towards Huntington. It's usually about a 2-mile round trip, or 2-hour round trip. But just a really nice ride, really easy ride. You can pedal as fast as you want to. You could handle that entire ride on a mountain bike if you wanted to. But a good road bike will get you here quicker and get you in the scenery. So if you're really into it, just pack you a lunch and come down. But always recommend this ride. There's some really, really beautiful parts of Huntington that a lot of people don't know about. And I try to dig those out and find them in my rides. So, all right, that's about the conclusion of this. So follow and subscribe. I'm going to try to start uploading more of these rides all over West Virginia, and so you all can experience what I experience. Take care.